seen them give job training for parents to increase their income, right? To help them getting housing, internet at their homes, access to food, helping them just get on food stamps. These are things that naturally happen. And if we're hiring hundreds of police officers a year, I truly believe we need to start hiring 100 social workers every year, right? Like we have to have a goal to get to a certain amount of social workers in 5 or 6 years, right? Where we have a mechanism that stops people from getting to mass incasts, that stops people from becoming homeless, that stops people from coming to their wits end. And then we also need to have a mechanism that helps people get back if they fall through, right? Because right now we're asking our police to take care of all these issues, and they're not set up for that. That's not the part of society that does that. What we need is we need hundreds of social workers going out on calls. We need hundreds of social workers when an EMT is like, oh, this person is this, they're calling, right? Last year during Christmas at the Blackstone, 30 families lost their housing, right? And our one social worker is trying her best to help them. And then the teachers are kicking in. I'm calling my church. Everyone's calling their churches and every nonprofit and every friend we have to get gifts and food and vouchers and gift cards to help them, maintain. But would it have been great to be able to pick up a phone and be like, hey, we need 5 social workers at this school right now. 30 families just lost their housing. They need a ton of resources, right? And we don't have a number to call, right? If you, God forbid, Marty, like, in 3 weeks time, you're like, I have no food in my house, right? Like I'm having a mental breakdown. Who do you call? If you don't have family that can kick in, right? If you had an emergency, if it was something violent happening, you have a number to call. If you're having a medical emergency, you have a number to call. If we are having a social emergency, we have no one to call right now. And this is why we have a growing problem, right? So we need to create a mechanism to prevent this from growing. We need to prevent a mechanism to prevent this from happening again, right? Because we got to be honest, it's mass and cast before it was methadone mild, right? Like this, whatever we got to admit that social problems will just implode on our society, right? And now we're at a point where something drastic has to happen because we've let it get out of control. But if we don't implement some sort of control or mechanism to stop it from getting here, we'll just be here again and again and again. I can't predict what the next thing is, but it's coming, right? We know that, right? We've seen it. It's never. It was crack before. It was this before. It was like it was alcohol before that, right? And so when are we going to say enough is enough? The same way with 311, right? The litter and the broken signs and the sidewalk. We put 311 is you have someone to call when you see these things, right? A dead rat or a needle pickup. Like we have something now to help with that. Oh, our trash didn't get picked up, right? In the past, you had nothing to call. Now you have someone to call for that to happen, right? Like, and so what if we added in that next mechanism to prevent this crisis from happening again, right? Because when I go in the South End, all the people over there are saying, I'm calling 911 because someone's overdosing. I'm calling this because of this. I'm calling needle pickup. We're meeting people that have been pricked by needles, and we have stuff at Orchard Gardens, right? But we need people that their full-time job is to watch out for the welfare of those who can't watch out for the welfare of themselves.